allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can be seated. All right. Good morning. Appreciate y'all joining us today. I want to introduce Pastor Jonathan Gatewood from First Baptist Church of Fannin. Pastor, you on the line? Yes, sir. Good morning. We appreciate you joining us and giving us our morning prayer. You may proceed. Amen. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and get started with the consent docket agenda. Number one, adoption of proposed consent docket for the August 2022 meeting of the commission. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, going to the energy agenda, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2014 UN 132, Entergy Mississippi, notice of intent of Entergy Mississippi LLC to modernize rates to support economic development, power procurement, and continued investment, schedule ATA-3 revised. Mr. Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, on July 13th, EML filed its annual ad valorem tax adjustment rider schedule, ATA-3 factor. This adjustment allows the company to recover the difference between ad valorem taxes paid and the amount recovered for taxes and retail rates during the prior calendar year. The proposed ATA-3 factor effective for September billing is 3.5557. The increase in the 2022 ATA rate resulted from an increase in projected ad valorem taxes collected through the ATA rider, offset by a decrease in the true-up from the previous year's filing. This results in an increase of 22 cents to the average 1,000 kilowatt-hour residential customer bill. Staff recommends approval.
Is there any questions?
Move we approve. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. On to the next one. Discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2012 UN 139, Centerpoint routine changes in its rate regulation adjustment rider, RRA filing. Mr. Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, Centerpoint Energy filed its annual rate regulation adjustment rider and weather normalization adjustment rider evaluations on April 29th, presenting the company's verifiable historical data for the 12 months ended December 31st, 2021. Filing indicated an allowed return on equity of 9.568% with an earned return on equity of 7.74%, which staff and CMP settled at 8.27%, indicating a revenue adjustment increase of approximately $2.6 million is warranted. Staff reviewed the company's filing along with numerous data request responses. Staff proposed several adjustments to the company's filed figures. On July 29th, the company and staff entered a joint stipulation stating that O&M expenses should be reduced by approximately $750,000 for expense disallowances, employee expenses, executive incentive compensation, supplemental retirement benefits, board of directors fees, and certain advertising expenses. With the reductions in O&M expenses, the total revenue requirement is reduced by approximately $750,000, resulting in an increase in the incremental revenue requirement of approximately $1.9 million, down from the $2.6 million requested in the initial filing. The increased revenue requirement is mostly attributable to increased rate base driven by major capital projects such as increased steel replacements, public improvement projects, city gate station replacements, and software replacements. The stipulated revenue requirement results in a monthly increase of $2.10 to an average residential customer's bill. This is 86 cents less than what was required before staff disallowances. Staff has thoroughly reviewed the following and supporting documentation and is satisfied that the results as stipulated represent a fair and reasonable revenue requirement. Accordingly, staff recommends approval of the order adopting the joint stipulation.
Is there any questions?
I move we approve. Before we move the vote, just
Sorry.
real quick. So you indicated in the filing and your review and memo to the staff, to the commission about what is the main driver increase, and that's in the capital expenditures along those lines. And I know through the review process and the discovery tools you have, helps you identify what those major expenditures look like. Now, with our electric utilities, we receive an annual capital plan or transmission distribution plan, something equivalently an equivalent report that sort of scopes out and gives us additional visibility on what their major expenditures are for that coming year. If we don't have a comparable tool or data set outside of the filing review process, I'd like to ask that the commission staff, as well as the public utility staff, work with our regulated natural gas entities and see if there may be some kind of tool or report that could be developed, some kind of capital plan that could be filed on an annual basis or something along those lines, just to give a little additional visibility into what those prospective major expenditures are. As we've seen, about a average $28 million per year increase, and what that goes to and what those projected increase in expenditures look like going forward, just to ensure we have a better understanding of what those increasing expenditures look like.
Are you referencing something like akin to the T&D transmission distribution plan Entergy?
Yes. So, but then I second your motion. I just want to ask that those groups have that conversation. Second your motion approval.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we're going to telecommunications. So discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2021 UA 149, Belzona Cable, application for a certificate of convenience and necessity to provide competitive telecommunications service within Mississippi. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Belzona Cable, back in January of 2021, filed this application for an ETC before the Commission. And the Commission granted that designation as an ETC for RDOF funds, which they began receiving in March of this year. It was to cover build-outs in Humphrey and Sharkey counties in the Central District. Later on on June 7th, the current case in front of you is their application for a CPC and September 13, 2001, they filed this application to provide facilities-based and resold local exchange and inter-exchange telecommunications throughout the state. Proper notice went out to all the parties during the course of this review. There's been no intervention or objection by any party to their application. They appear to be financially qualified and technically capable of offering these services, and it should promote the granting, if the Commission grants it, the public interest by increased competition. We reviewed the application based on the prior designation ETC and their financial statements then and where they are now. We recommend that it be approved and be granted the CPCN to offer these services throughout the state.
Okay, is there any questions?
Motion to adopt as presented.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we're going to move, there's no water and sewer issue on the agenda, so we're going to go to the administrative agenda. Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of commission minutes for July 2022 term of the commission. Is there any questions?
I move we approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2019 AD 24, Entergy, Mississippi, order implementing recommendations of independent auditor. Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware, Liberty and Horn conducted the fuel audits for Entergy, Mississippi for the October 1, 2020 through September 30, 2021 audit period. In December of 2021, Liberty and Horn submitted their reports to the Commission. Liberty's December 2021 audit report contained recommendations to the commission. EML filed a response to the recommendation in Liberty's report on January 18th, 2022. The December 2021 reports were adopted and certified to the legislature by commission order on March 8th, 2022. The order before you finds that Liberty made several recommendations that the commission believes do not warrant any additional action at this time, however, does direct the next procurement auditor for Entergy, which will be London Economics, to continue discussing these areas with EML during the October 1, 2021, 2021 through September 30, 2022 audit period. The items I'm about to mention are being deferred to the next audit period to continue discussion and evaluation between LEI and EML. As it relates to organizational staffing and controls, the next audit should address the status of independence plans for maintaining an effective complement of operating resources as the station approaches its life end. As it relates to coal procurement, perform a more robust and risk-based analysis of forecasted coal requirements and inventory cost, incorporating clear comparisons of differences in expected value to customers resulting from varying levels of contract purchases and levels of inventory maintenance, as well as an examination of the coal supply commitments made in August 2021 in the next audit. As it relates to natural gas and fuel oil, a review of the hedging program's recent results against its objectives and working with Entergy's internal audit services to implement enhanced gas transaction data analytics. As it relates to power plant operation, analyze the performance of certain generating stations for areas of improvements, especially in the areas of forced outage rate and adhering to the schedules for planned outages. A review of the management of contractor maintenance and maintenance quality of work, and review of plans for bringing maintenance performance into conformity with plans and schedules. As it relates to Grand Gulf fuel and capacity factor, examination of the nuclear fuel cycle, supply commitments that will begin in 2023 and a subsequent audit. Moving into the next fuel audit period, EML will also report both the capacity factor and the capability factor at Grand Gulf. Commissioners, those are the recommendations that will be handed off to LEI as they conduct the 2021-2022 fuel audits for Entergy, Mississippi, and I can answer any questions y'all have.
Do we have any questions?
I move we approve the order implementing the recommendation.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Discussion and possible action regarding proposed order in docket number 2019-AD25, Mississippi Power Company, order implementing recommendations of an independent auditor. Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware, London Economics International and Carr Rings and Ingram conducted the fuel audits for Mississippi Power Company for the 2020-2021 audit period. LEI and CRI submitted their reports to the Commission on December 2nd and December 6th, 2021, respectively, and those reports were adopted and certified to the legislature by Commission order on March 8th, 2022. LEI's report contained recommendations to the Commission. The Public Utility staff provided written comments on those recommendations in its summary report filed on March 7th, 2022. In line with the recommendations in LEI's report, the order before you directs IMPECO within 30 days to develop, file, and implement an action plan regarding the following three recommendations from LEI. As it relates to coal procurement, IMPECO should benchmark coal cost against industry averages and review the procurement strategy in order to bring commodity costs closer to industry standards. As it relates to fleet operation, IMPECO should study the cost of uneconomic commitment and dispatch of generation resources in any economic retirement, transmission planning, or other planning analyses. As it relates to energy trading, IMPECO should continue to explore opportunities to increase economic interchanges with MISO and or other regions. This should apply to SEAM as it goes live in the third quarter of 2022. Commissioners, IMPECO will file this within 30 days. And further, Bates White will be conducting the 2021-2022 fuel audits for Mississippi Power. I can answer any questions y'all have.
Is there any questions?
I move we approve the order implementing the recommendation.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, number 5 is, no, scratch that, my bad. I marked off the wrong one. All right, number 4, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in 2022 UN 86 and 2022 UN 87, Great River Utility Operating Company LLC, notice of intent to establish statewide rates for water and wastewater disposal service in Mississippi. Mr. Hammonds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you were 2 orders in 2022 UN 86 and 87. Those are the statewide rate cases that Great River has filed. Before you are 2 orders of designation that is designating me from a procedural standpoint as these cases progress to rule on procedural matters, implement scheduling orders, conducting pre-hearing conferences, ruling on any motions. This is not a referral order pursuant to 77340, so not as a hearing examiner, just simply procedurally to rule on items as they come in these cases.
Any questions?
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number 5, discussion and possible action regarding authorization for Commission's Executive Secretary to enter into a professional service contract for consulting services related to Great River Utility Operating Company, LLC, statewide rate case for water and wastewater disposal service. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As y'all are aware, the Commission issued an RFP for the consulting services that you just mentioned. We received responses internally. The Commission staff has met. United Professional Company submitted a response to the RFP. So before you is just a request from Commission legal staff to authorize the Executive Secretary to enter into a contract with them for those services.
Any questions?
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 6, discussion and possible action regarding authorization of the Commission's Executive Secretary to enter into a professional services contract for consulting services related to telecommunications. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Similar again, before you is a request from Commission legal staff to authorize the Commission's Executive Secretary to enter into a consulting contract with Donna Chandler, who's the former Director of Telecommunications with the Public Utility staff, where the Commission is right now with telecommunications and ETC season coming up. Just a request from legal staff to bring her in to kind of aid and assist us on those efforts.
All right, any questions?
I guess this question and a comment. Certainly, Donna's absolutely wonderful. She's been one of the smartest people in the industry. I want to, just for purposes of the discussion, the ETC designations have to go to the FCC by the end of September, correct? They have to arrive by October 1.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And at some point, I'd just like for us to get an idea of where we are on that, because this year will be our first year of influx of RDOF funds that I assume the staff is going through that auditing process now. And then we will have all the co-ops that will be coming back in for redesignation. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Not redesignation, but approval of their past years' expenditures and their forward years' expenditures. I just know there's a lot of work between now and the end of September, so hopefully with Ms. Chandler, Tim, y'all can all work together. I know we're on the same team, so I move we approve the contract.
Thanks, sir.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 7, discussion and possible action regarding rescheduling the Commission's September meeting to September 15th.
Move we approve the change into September 15th. September 15th.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. And now I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Pressley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just before we adjourn, I wanted to make the audience aware that we're losing our policy advisor on my staff, Ty James. Will be leaving us on August the 15th, but I want to take this time to congratulate him on his new role. The National Telecommunications Information Agency, which is under the U.S. Department of Commerce, is now administering, I would say, 85% of the broadband funds that are flowing to states. Of course, the legislature created the BEAM office in the last legislative session that will create that plan, and Mr. James's role will be to oversee from a federal standpoint those expenditures of federal dollars in the state on broadband. He's been working with NTIA as our liaison from the commission on mapping for the last year or so, but now will assume a federal role on August the 15th and will be overseeing the state's expenditure of those federal funds. And so I just wanted to congratulate him and thank him for his service and wish him the best publicly for his new job.
All right, with no more business, this meeting's adjourned.
All right.